Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. What's going on, guys? Now, this is the third time I'm trying to shoot this video, trying to give Daniel Jacobs some credit and pick up the things he can do to beat Golovkin, but this freaking camera will not let me shoot the video. So I'm going to try with the third time. Let's see if this works this time. Now, Daniel Jacobs, as we know, is fighting Golovkin on March 18th. I made a video that got mostly positive responses, but there were a lot of you that voiced your displeasures with what you perceived to be a high amount of bias from me. I didn't think I was biased. I just thought I'd call it how I saw it. I think Golovkin is the much better fighter than Jacobs, and he will show that March 18th. Which and a lot of the reasons why is because stylistically, I just don't see how Jacobs can beat him. But I wanted to give you guys both sides of the coin, both sides of the matchup. So this video here is why Jacobs can beat Golovkin and how he can shock the world. So Daniel Jacobs, not a bad middleweight at all. The second hardest puncher outside of Golovkin with an 88% knockout rate. Now he's coming into this fight with some advantages. I would say one of the things that he does have going for him that a lot of Golovkin's opponents didn't have going for them is that he has very, very good amateur experience. Now that kind of gets overlooked, but if you look at the amateur experience, he won the Golden Gloves in 04, National Golden Gloves, and National Golden Gloves in 05. So back-to-back National Golden Gloves champion. Beat some guys like Golovkin fought, in the pros while he was in the amateurs. He beat Mark Murray twice. He beat Dominic Wade. So those are two guys Golovkin's fought. He beat Sean Porter as an amateur as well, 2 times. And then 2 guys that he lost to that are also pros, notable names. He lost to Matt Korobov and he lost to Demetrius Andrade. So Jacobs had a lot of amateur experience to lean on, and you would be led to believe that amateur experience, should he get in a tough position, would make him a little bit harder to stop than some of the other opponents Golovkin has fought. Even though you guys are going to say, he got stopped by Dmitry Pirog. Well, to be fair, that was in 2010, and he's had 13 fights since then. It's been 6 years. So a lot of things changed for a fighter over the course of that time. He's matured a lot. He's went through a lot in his life, overcoming cancer. So I would expect Jacobs to be a little harder to stop than some of the guys Golovkin's fought recently, like Dominic Wade. So he's got the amateur experience going for him there. Now, he also has going for him the fact that he has campaigned his entire career as a middleweight, which is something that a lot of Golovkin's opponents haven't done. You look at Daniel Gio. He was a 154-pounder when he came into the boxing. Lemieux has been someone who has outgrown middleweight, so he's had problems making the weight. Marco Antonio Rubio came into boxing as basically a junior welterweight. I believe his first fight he fought way back in 2000, he weighed about 148 pounds. Daniel Gio, another 154-pounder. Curtis Stevens, when he turned pro, his first fight was actually at 175, and he gradually worked his way down to 160. Rosado, when he came out to fight GGG, he came up from 154 to 160. So what I'm saying is, Jacobs has been a middleweight for all 33 of his fights, which is a big deal because it means he's a natural middleweight. It means that his punches, you're not going to have to worry about his punches being hard or crisp, which is something that, even though fighters won't come out and say it, they think that to themselves. If they know that they're not a natural, if that's not the natural weight and they have to either go up or come down, there's always that thought in the back of their mind, will my punches be hard enough to beat this guy, or will they be enough to allow me to do some of the things I want to do in my game plan to beat this guy? So that's another thing Jacobs has going for him, the fact that he's been a natural middleweight his entire career. And then you have all of the physical things going for him, the size and reach. He's going to come into the ring with a 2-inch reach advantage, or 2-inch height advantage, and a 3-inch reach advantage, which is going to be very important because, like I said, I alluded to the amateur experience earlier. If he can control range, control distance, then that's going to allow him to set up some big shots, big punches that could hurt GGG and swing the fight in his favor. Jacobs, as much as we want to talk about Golovkin's power, he does have a lot of it. Jacobs is right there with him. As far as statistics go, I'm not saying he's a more devastating puncher. I'm just going by the statistics. 88% knockout percentage. That's the second highest KO percentage in the middleweight division. The highest KO percentage outside of Golovkin in the weight class. So he's definitely a formidable opponent. Also, I would say the age factor. Golovkin is 34 years old. He didn't look too good in his last fight against Kell Brook, and you could go all the way back to 2013 when he fought Rosado. He was kind of sick for that fight. They said he had the flu. Fighters tend to get sick if they have a hard time making the weight. So I'm not saying that maybe he had a hard time making the weight for that fight, but it's possible. He didn't feel so good going into that fight, but he delivered a good performance, and it's been the case many times in his career. And Father Time could be catching up to Golovkin, so Jacobs might be catching up at the right time. So he's got that on his side as well, with the youth being that he's only 29 years old. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to say, I've heard a lot of people say, well, Golovkin got exposed by Kell Brook, and Jacobs is going to do the same things Kell Brook it did to Golovkin. And my response to that is he can't do the same things Kell Brook did to Golovkin and win, because number one, he doesn't have Kell Brook foot speed. He's not the counterpuncher Kell Brook is. So I don't think he's going to do everything Kell Brook did in that fight and beat Golovkin. Now, there is some things he can do to Golovkin that Kell Brook did, and still be able to pull off a massive upset. One of those things, and I feel like he's going to have to do it, it's a necessary evil. He, at some point in the fight, is going to have to step to Golovkin, toe-to-toe, and let him know that, hey, I'm not scared. I'm not afraid of you, and I came here to prove that I'm the best middleweight in the world. He's got to get his respect, and I would recommend him doing that early, because if he doesn't, it's going to be target practice for Golovkin. But he's got to do that and show that he's there to take the belt from the champion, from the best middleweight in the world. So there's that as well. And yeah, man, I think Jacobs, there are some things there for him to take advantage of. Now, do I think he will do it? No, I think Golovkin, with his amateur experience and the fact that he's never been down on the canvas in almost 400 fights. You count up 345 he had in the amateurs. The 30-something he's had in the pros, it's almost 400 fights. Never been on the canvas. So if Jacobs just gets Golovkin on the canvas, his stock goes up in a major way. And I think even if he loses this fight, if he's able to drop Golovkin at least once, you got to look at Jacobs in a completely different way, because nobody's been able to do that. And he's fought some pretty hard punchers. David Lemieux, although he doesn't have anywhere near the boxing ability Jacobs has, David Lemieux is a very, very hard puncher, one of the most explosive punchers pound for pound in boxing, and really wasn't able to land too many effective shots against Golovkin. So we'll see what happens, man. Golovkin does do some things that Pirog does, like he does shift. I do think his ability to neutralize his opponents is a lot better than Pirog's, so that's another reason I think he's going to beat Jacobs. But we'll see what happens, man. It's boxing. We see upsets all the time, and Jacobs has a huge chance to live up to his nickname, which I think is one of the best nicknames in boxing, the Miracle Man. So if he beats Golovkin, in my opinion, it'd be a massive miracle, because I just think Golovkin's a better fighter. But that's why we watch boxing. We see if guys can rise to the occasion, and he's gonna have the support of New Yorkers there. I know he has a good little fan base there. I know Golovkin has a good fan base there, so it should be a nice, spirited, rambunctious crowd over there at Madison Square Garden. And it's a chance to put his stamp on not just the middleweight division, but boxing at large, and announce himself as one of the best fighters in the world. So Daniel Jacobs, those are some things you got going for yourself. Those are some things he is going to have going for him to win this fight. Let me know what you guys think. Will Dan Jacobs take advantage of some of the things I listed in this video, or will he ultimately just be another name in the historical middleweight title run that we've seen from Gennady Golovkin? Let me know in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.